Good evening, everyone. Tonight we will be talking about the last part of obligations and contract, which is the kinds of defective contracts. So basically, there are four kinds of defective contracts: rescissible contracts, voidable contracts, unenforceable contracts, and void contracts. Of the four contracts, the first three are valid, which means they produce legal effects, while a void contract, from the term itself, it does not produce any legal effect. So, we will be talking about these four kinds of contract for today's video. Okay, so what are rescissible contracts? So, rescissible contracts are those which caused economic damage either to one of the parties or to a third person, which may be set aside even if it is considered valid. So, again, you have to take note that rescissible contracts are valid until rescinded. So, the action in order to question the rescissible contracts is what you call rescission. Now, what are contracts which are deemed rescissible? So, first, when it is entered into by a guardian in behalf of the ward and the ward suffers an economic damage of more than one-fourth of the value of the subject. Now, let's take, for example, a 16-year-old ward. So when you say ward, this is a person who is under guardianship because he cannot act yet on his behalf because of legal incapacity. Because we know that the age of consent is 18. So for example, a ward who is, let's say, 12 years old owns a house and lot which is valued at 1 million. Now, the guardian sold the house and lot for only 500,000. So that means that the ward has suffered, in fact, in our example, one half economic damage. Instead of selling the property at 1 million, the guardian sold it at 500,000. So there is an economic damage, or in Bisaya we call it alkanse. Na alkanse ang ward og more than one-fourth of the value of the object, then the contract is rescissible. It can be rescinded because of the economic damage. Second kind of rescissible contract is when agreed upon in representation of absentees, if the absentee suffers lesion by more than one-fourth of the value of the property. When we say lesion is economic damage. That is the term for economic damage. So just like in the case of a ward, an absentee, maybe a spouse, who was absent for a long period of time. So, if ang mag-asawa, they have conjugal properties, and then one of the spouse, dili na wa na nagpakita, wa na pud hibaw ang whereabouts. So, pwede siya nga i-declare nga usa ka absentee. Now, because he is an absentee, the wife can now enter into a contract in behalf of the absentee. Kay if mag-asawa and there is no prenuptial agreement, then the property regime is conjugal partnership, or absolute community property, meaning the two of them become co-owners of their property. And being co-owners, dili pwede makabalik dyan ang usa ka spouse kung si jarang usa. But if the other spouse is an absentee, the remaining spouse, the present spouse, can enter into a contract. However, the contract entered to by the present spouse may be rescissible if ang absentee spouse will suffer lesion or lesion or economic damage by more than one-fourth of the value of the property. Just like in a case of a guardian and a ward. Okay. The third rescissible contract is when the contracts is based on fraud committed against a creditor. So this is what we call action pauliana. Now, for example, si debtor is almost insolvent na siya. And nana naman siya remaining a property worth 1 million. Now, si creditor, nana siya judgment gikan sa korte nga ang ibayad sa utang ni debtor is katong property nga worth 1 million. So, ang gibuhat ni debtor, ijang gidali-dali og baligya ang katong ijang last remaining property to his, for example, to his driver na way capacity to pay 1 million. So, in that case, the creditor can file for action pauliana and rescind the contract. Rescind the contract of sale because klaro kaadyo nga what was done was to defraud the creditor. Kay once the property is transferred to another name and no longer in the name of the debtor, then the creditor could no longer get hold of such property. So, maupo na siya. That is the third kind of rescissible contract. The fourth kind of rescissible contract are objects of litigation. Meaning, ang object sa kontrata, subject pa siya sa usa ka kaso. Okay, once the object is lis pendens or what you call under litigation, then dili pa siya pwede ibaligya or i-subject to a contract. So, such contract becomes rescissible. And the last kind of rescissible contract is when it is made by an it's a payment made by an insolvent on a debt which is not yet due, prejudicing the claim of others. Now, for example, si debtor naa siya utang ni Mr. A nga creditor 1 million nga mo due today, May 18. And then napod siya utang sa iyang sister-in-law nga 1 million nga mo due pa on May 30. Instead of paying the creditor, si Mr. A nga due today ang utang, dito na hinon si Janing bayad sa iyang sister nga iyang sister-in-law nga dili pa due ang utang today, May 30 pa. And mo to iyang last nga money. So what happens now is Mr. A, the creditor, can rescind the payment, Can rescind the payment made by the debtor to his sister-in-law because na prejudice ang iyang claim. Cause of injury on the part of Mr. A's claim. So what you need to remember in rescissible contract is economic damage. The 5 kinds of rescissible contracts, usa ang common nilang tanan. There is always economic damage. So what happens when you want to rescind a contract or when the contract is rescinded? So of course, there is mutual restitution. When you say mutual restitution, mag-uliay. Ibalik ang object, ibalik ang kwarta. So, that is rescissible contract. Now, the second kind of defective contracts are voidable contracts. So, kung ang rescissible contracts, the cause of the rescission is due to economic damage, sa rescissible contract, it is still considered valid. However, it is voidable because there is a vice of the consent or legal incapacity. So, muna 2 grounds para mahimo ang usa ka contract nga voidable. Vice in a consent or legal incapacity. So, let's go to legal incapacity. Unsa may mga legal incapacity nga makahimo sa contract nga voidable? Number 1, when one of the parties is below 18. Okay, we all know nga ang maka-enter into contracts are those of legal age which is 18. So, kung usa sa mga parties is below 18, ang usa is of age, of legal age, then the contract is voidable. When you say voidable, it is valid until annulled. So, in voidable contracts, the action is annulment. In rescissible contracts, the action is rescission. So, minors. Another legal incapacity is insanity. Insane in Bisaya, buang. However, an insane person may enter into a contract when they are in lucid interval. When you say lucid interval, kanang wa si janing tukar. Kaya di ba na may mga insane nga person nga tukar-tukar. So, panahon nga wa ning tukar ang ilang insanity, pwede sila mo enter into a contract. But when they are in the state of insanity, they can enter into a contract, but the contract is voidable. The third kind of legal incapacity are those or voidable contract are those entered into by deaf mute who cannot read or write. So, dili pwede nga deaf mute ra. Nasa Jay sumpay nga who cannot read or write. Because they are protected by law. Kay deaf mute na ganing sila, di mo sila ka mabasa o musuwat. So, they are prone to fraudulent nga mga transaction. Prone sila nga ilaron. Another is those who are specially disqualified. So, for example, in the case of a person who has civil interdiction. Kanang civil interdiction, that is a penalty given by a judge in a criminal case. So, kung ang usa ka tawo hatagan og penalty nga civil interdiction, dili siya maka-exercise sa isang parental authority, dili siya ka-exercise sa isang marital nga rights, dili po siya ka-exercise sa isang proprietary rights. So, ang usa ka tawo nga na civil interdiction, dili pwede maka-dispose sa isang properties, dili po siya maka-enter into contracts. That is why, if ang person ning enter into a contract is with civil interdiction, the contract becomes voidable. And then, if the person entering into a contract is in the state of drunkenness, hubog ning enter into a contract. And we all know why. Kaya kung hubog na ang ni enter into a contract, most likely wa na siya kasabot kung unsay ijang gisudlan nga kontrata. So when you talk about drunkenness, there is no hard and fast rule. As long as sa ijang kahubog, he could no longer properly give his or her consent. Or if the person is under a hypnotic spell, meaning nabudol, na hypnotize, and they enter into a contract, the contract is voidable. Now, let's go to another kind of void contract, no? When there is vice in consent, meaning the consent was not freely given. So, if the consent was not freely given, then the contract becomes voidable. So, what are the vices of consent? Number 1, you have mistake. Nasadyop ka, kaingon ka og ang imong gi-enter into a contract is a contract of loan. Pero lahi dito nga kontrata imong gipirmahan. Kaingon ka og mortgage ra, loan ra, deed of sale na di ay. For example, just like that. Mistake. So, pwede siya nga voidable. Second, we have another vice of consent is violence and intimidation. Gihadlok ka, gitiunan ka, nga mo pirma kay or else hindi ka mo pirma, pasilon ka. That is a voidable contract or undue influence. Gipapirma ka sa imong amo kay kung dili ka mo pirma tangtangon ka sa trabaho. That is undue influence. Then the contract is voidable. Or there was fraud, giilad ka. Gipapirma ka, giingnan ka nga, kontrata ra na sa atong trabaho. Pero kung ano dito, contract sa kasal, for example, just like that. So, that is a vice. Those are the vices of consent. Mistake, violence and intimidation, undue influence, and fraud. If present ni sila, it means that the consent was not freely given. Thus, the contract is voidable. But again, when we say voidable, they are valid until annulled. Now, because a contract is only voidable and it is valid, the action to annul the contract expires. There's a prescription. Naaray period kung kanus ka kutob maka-file og annulment. So, in a case of intimidation, violence, and undue influence, 4 years from the time the defect of consent ceases. So, for example, katong intimidation, gitiunan ka og pusil para mo pirma ka sa deed of sale. And then, 2010 kaning pirma. Pag 2011, namatay tong ning hadlok nimo. So, violence intimidation ceased. So, from 2011, you now have 4 years to file the annulment of contract. Kaya if you do not do it within 4 years, it means nga you already accepted the voidable contract. In a case of mistake or fraud, still 4 years from the time of the discovery. And in case of incapacity, from the time guardianship ceases. Especially if katong mga minors, no? When they reach the age of majority and you did not file anything or you did not file to annul the contract, then the contract now becomes valid. It no longer becomes voidable. So again, rescissible contracts valid until rescinded, voidable contracts valid until annulled. Now let's go to the third kind of defective contract, unenforceable contracts. These contracts are valid, but you cannot compel its execution. Dili nimo pwede ipugos. Mo bitong unenforceable, dili siya ma-enforce. Now, unenforceable contracts, again, they are valid, but they have defects. No, na sila defects. But it can produce legal effect if it is ratified, meaning kanang naay gibuhat, no, naay nabuhat para mahimong valid ang mahimong enforceable ang contract. Now, there are 3 kinds of unenforceable contracts. Number 1, those which are unauthorized or there is no sufficient authority. Now, when you enter into a contract in behalf of another person, so representative ra ka, what document do you have to possess? You need to have a special power of attorney or general power of attorney to enter into a contract. Dili ra pwede nga authorization letter ra, no, because dapat na kay written authority from your principal or ang imong girepresentahan, or when it is in excess of the authority conferred. Now, for example, ang giingon na dito sa authority is to sign the kanang acknowledgement receipt nga imong nadawat ang kwarta, but ang imong gisaynan kay deed of sale, which is not specified in the power of attorney. So, it is in excess of your authority. The contract is unenforceable because it is entered into without the authority of the person. The second kind of unenforceable contracts are cured by ratification. Now, we talked about voidable contracts. A contract is voidable when one of the parties is minor or one of the party is insane. But for unenforceable contracts, the contract cannot be enforced when the two parties cannot give consent. For example, duha ka minor ning enter into a contract or duha ka insane nga tao ning enter into a contract. However, it may be cured by ratification when ang katong duha ka minor ning reach na sila sa age of majority. Ning reach na sila og 18 silang duha and they can now compel the execution or they can now enforce the contract. Or if katong duha ka insane, unja ning abot sa period nga naglucid interval sila, meaning kanang what we call this, tarong ang ilang paghuna-huna, and they agreed to execute the kaning agreement or the contract, then it can now be enforced. So, mo nang curable by ratification. Now, the third kind of unenforceable contracts are those curable by acknowledgement because they fail to comply with the statute of frauds under Article 1403. Now, ang kaning statute of frauds, although we said in the beginning, there is no specific form of a contract. However, in order to comply with the statute of frauds, this contract must be in written form. So, written form ni sila. Ganun curable by acknowledgement man. Where even it becomes curable by acknowledgement kay even if one of the contracts fall under the 6 nga dapat masud sa statute of frauds, but one of the parties already complied, then mapugos ang other party nga mo comply pod sa iyang obligation under the contract. However, if wa pagajoy partial execution from either of the parties, then it is and the document is unwritten, or there is no written document, then the contract is unenforceable. But the unenforceable contract can be cured by acknowledgement when one of the parties partially executes or partially complies with the obligation provided in the contract. Now, what are these unenforceable contracts that are curable by acknowledgement? Number 1, when the agreement is to be performed within a year after making a contract. So, for example, nagsabot nga mo cater, inigpista, sunod tuig. So, in order nga imong mapugos ang caterer or ang client nga mulahos ato nga sabot, it must be in written form because the agreement is to be performed within a year after making the contract. Second is a special promise to answer for debt, default, or miscarriage of others. Ning promise ka nga ikaw mo bayad sa utang sa imong amigo. Dili ka pwede suktan sa katong sa giutangan sa imong amigo if there is no written document promising to do so. Third is an agreement made in consideration of promise to marry. So, for example, nagsabot mo nga kanang we have this donation propter nuptias nga ijang ihatag ang house and lot sa imong soon to be parents-in-law if kaslo na mo sa imong bana. So, it must, para ma-enforce na nimo nga promise, it must be in a written document. Or in a case of a sale of goods, when the object is not less than 500 pesos. So, supposed to be, tanang sale nga above 500 pesos, nagadyo na si Jai written document. But there is an exception. Kung ang sale is kanang simultaneous ganing, meaning palitan dajon, ighatag sa kwarta, hatag sa butang, then pwede ra nga dili written, written nga form. However, if dili simultaneous ang sale, it must be in written form. Number 5, agreement for lease of property for more than 1 year. So, when you say lease of property, kanang nag-rent ka. So, sa ka-property and ang inyong term is 1 year, then it should be in written form. Or in a sale of real property regardless of the price. So, sa mga real property, jota, buy. These are real properties. So, bisag pila pa na imong pagpalit sa jota, it must be in written form. And lastly, representation as to the credit of another. Mupasalig ka nga kaning tawhana makabayad. It must be in written form. Para kung tayo wa kabayad, pwede ka adtoon sa ijang creditor. So, those are examples of unenforceable contracts. Again, unenforceable contracts, they are valid, but you cannot compel its execution. Now, let's go to the last kind of defective contract, void contract. So, when you say void, what just is it does not produce any legal effect. Now, there are 3 kinds of void contracts. Those lack in essential elements. There are 3 essential elements: consent, object, cause. So, for example, naghimo mo og deed of sale, unja di tinuod ang juta, waning exist, or wa mo nagbinayranay. The contract is void. Or naghimo-himo ka og tao nga imo tayong gibaligdaan sa imong juta pero wa day ning exist ang tao, then the contract is void. Prohibited by law, no? For example, prohibited by law, expressly prohibited or declared void by law, or illegal or illicit ones. Mauna ni sila. For example, naamoy contract to kill a person worth 10,000 pesos. Imong napatay ang tao nga inyong gisabutan, unja wa ka bayre. Can you bring the contract in court? Of course not, because the contract is void daan. So, that is the 4th kind of defective contracts. Now, again, the first 3 kinds of defective contracts, rescissible, voidable, and unenforceable contracts, they are all valid, therefore they produce legal effect, while the 4th kind of defective contract is void and it does not produce legal effect. So that's it. Those are the 4 kinds of defective contracts, and that is the last topic on our subject, law on obligations and contracts. Thank you and good evening.